that the e-levy has been tabled, and the speaker is not there. Let's hypothetically, Bagman is not there, Jose Wusu is not there, Honorable Esiama is also not there, and then you, Alhassan Suini, you are selected by the caucus. Yeah. I mean, all of them select you to go and sit there and with you 137. And let's also assume because Isiama is not there, let's do some counterbalance for some reason, or let's say it's maybe 134 because let's assume that because the Jose Wusu is not there. Let's say you have even numbers, okay? Would you say on the e-levy, which your side has resisted,
or
would you say that because you are chairing or because you are presiding, you will not vote? How would you have reacted?
And if I tell you that I will follow the standing orders, follow the Constitution and my understanding of it, how are you to believe that I will?
But so I'm expecting that you'll be candid enough and tell me in this situation how you would justifiably react.
That's what I'm telling you. In my position now, I strongly believe that when you are you are not supposed to take part in the vote. And I'll explain why I believe so. Look, first of all, let me put something beyond doubt. None among the minority, no member among the minority has said that any of the deputy speakers right to represent their constituents. In fact, they do all the time. Okay. They vote all the time. And they represent their constituents all the time.
Okay.
In fact, in the last,
You're just going to make the point that it is when they are presiding.
And that is relevant. And that is relevant. In the last sitting, when the minority side sought to prevent, the first deputy from voting, the Fomina MP had voted. He was a deputy speaker, but he had voted.
Why?
Clearly, maybe before I even go to the Constitution, the Supreme Court ruling, for me, as it stands now,
right,
even as we disagree with it, is a vindication of what the minority did in preventing the first deputy speaker. I'll explain to you. Law, we are told, and the lawyers can bear me out, does not have any retrospective effect.
Right.
So at the time that Order 1093 was law, correct? It was the law. So not until the Supreme Court jettisoned it like they have done.
It was the law per your understanding of the standing orders and what you had implemented over time.
No. What I'm saying is that it was law based on Parliament to determine what will govern its procedures.
Okay.
So Parliament 30 years ago determined that this was going to govern its procedures. And this included 1093. So that was law. Until the Supreme Court jettisoned 1093, it was law. So whatever is what the first deputy speaker attempted to do, which was against 1093.
In your mind.
Saying the deputy speaker was lawful, was unlawful at the time. And so if the minority prevented him from doing so, it was...
On the back of the Supreme Court's ruling, so you agree, you concede that now the Supreme Court has ruled 7-0. Now, you guys have to sit and go through the motions of what this means for the standing orders, how it to be fabricated into what you can actually apply as masters of your own.
You see, I think the Supreme Court was wrong.
How?
It is clear to me.
Have you read the entirety of it?
I've read it.
Have you read it?
I've read it. And let me tell you something. I'm not one of those who just go on and just talk. I read my stuff.
I'm only asking because interestingly, I think it was even the chair of the Constitutional, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs. I asked him and he hadn't actually taken. So it's only a fair question.
Maybe it wasn't. Since last Friday, one must make time to read it. But it is clear to me that the justices were influenced by the public discussions of issues in Parliament, especially related.
Do you know what you're suggesting, Alhassan Suini? When you say the justices were influenced by the public discourse, these issues come up. We don't talk about. Suggesting that. Do you know what it means?
They are human beings. Please, let's not make them look for gods.
Can I come in?
Let me make this point.
They also listen to discussions.
Right.
They do. They watch us. By now, some of them are watching us. In fact,
but they base their decisions on the law, not on
sentiments.
Or your setting,
or
the environment.
So the justices,
it
so
is
to
scientific.
speak, were influenced.
It is scientific. Please, you cannot live without any influence on you based on the environment you live in.
So were the justices influenced?
That is the point I'm making. And if you had only allowed me to finish.
Go ahead.
I'm saying that it seems to me, again, this is my opinion. I don't know why you want to take it away from me.
No, I'm
that
not
it
taking away.
seems to
I'm
me,
just expanding.
and it is not a condemnation of the justices. It is just what it is. It is nature.
Right.
When you by the public discourse around whether or not the deputy speaker should vote or not. And I will explain. Look, for example, in my view, you don't reduce the role of a member of parliament when he is or she is to represent the constituents to just voting. Yes, the question that was the consequences, the answer should not just be the role or the right to vote as a representation of the constituents. In fact, deliberation is key. When you are representing your constituency, deputy speakers are allowed to, join deliberations, debating. They do oversight on behalf of their constituencies. But when you answer the question of voting with representation only meaning the right to vote, then you miss the bigger picture of what a member of parliament is supposed to do.
Quick.
Land, and let me
I mean, sometimes when you're not
ahead,
interested in what is being said, but you think that the person is taking too long. But let me just, because you are rushing this, I wanted to build a point on the influence that I see.
There's a key point I want to make.
Let him. On the influence, I wanted to build a point on the influence that I see in the ruling. For example, where did that come from?
And people have said that some of the rhetoric.
Where did that come from? I'm saying that it is clear MPP propaganda in that ruling. I mean, not the whole ruling, but that portion, because they suggested that Speaker Bagbin opportunistically, absented himself, when the evidence clearly shows that he did not. Anybody who wants to, avert his mind to the facts will clearly understand that Speaker Bagbin, did not deliberately absent himself. But you see, I want us to look.
Can we?
Yes, just wrap up on this.
Briefly on this, so we can.
Yeah, I know, I get you. 297H of our Constitution says that whereas directing or empowering a public officer to do any act or thing, or otherwise applying to him by the designation of his office. So any authority or otherwise that a person has as a result of his designation or his office, and all his deputies and all other assistants. Let me go over it again. Whereas directing or empowering a public officer to do any act or thing, or otherwise applying to him by the designation of his office, include his, when the speaker is directed to do anything or stopped from doing anything, it extends to his successors. It extends to his deputies when they assume that designation, that role.
Okay.
That's a weak argument.
2952, well, that's what you think. But clearly, speak to some lawyers. Well, I think we can proceed.
Okay. So I think his point is clearly made. And again, I will actually concede. A few of the lines.
Fight that. But there's one key thing that I wanted to point out.
Right.
In what is interesting, sometimes we should mirror good practices.
Right. Can you just make it very brief?
Yes. And the good practice is that when we have a split in the select committee, a chairman who is not permitted to vote is then allowed and forth. Is that the practice? Suhini?
Yeah. The chairman has a cast-in vote.
When there's a split. Beautiful.
When it gets to that point, he will be the decider.
He'll be the decider.
Or she.
Or she. Agreed. Now, what prevents us from mirroring that in the House? Anytime the speaker is not there, the speaker, who is not a member of parliament, anytime he's not there, in literal terms, we have a split. And who's the decider? Who should be the decider?
Point made.
The person presiding.
Point made.
So, I mean, that is a very simple.
And again,
Find in that ruling. Look, if you look at page 6 of our standing order, it says Speaker or Mr. Speaker includes a member presiding at a sitting. Now, this is not in the Constitution. It's not here. It's not in the Constitution. So, I mean,
But the standing orders can't fall outside of what the Constitution dictates.
The Supreme Court says that subject to this, the provisions in this Constitution.
Right.
Now, in the whole ruling, I do not see any provision in this Constitution that 1093 is against. No specific.
Can I?
And mind you,
interestingly says that.
Oh, hold on.
No, can I finish?
Okay.
110 actually says that that subject to the Constitution, and that's what people are basing their argument on. It says that subject to the provisions of the interpretations of this Constitution.
You're quick.
But the justices have expunged 1093 based on their interpretation of this Constitution.
And I've heard other people make that same argument. Very quickly.
My simple argument again. The majority leader, the minority
your point is
and we should mirror
they don't
what happens
preside unless
in the
they
committee.
are called upon. Anytime they are called upon
at the committee
preside.
level, the decision we've all agreed is that when there's a split, the presiding authority should vote so that that split doesn't happen. So,
gentlemen,
let's mirror that.
It has to do with the influence of money in our politics, especially at the grassroots level. I mean, we've heard of the incidents from irate youth vandalizing party property in Yendi. I'm talking about the MPP's polling elections, same in Tano North and all of that. But one line or one thread that keeps running through is the influence of money and who gets what, because right from the polling level, we know that these people are the same ones who are going to be duty bearers when it comes to electing at the next level. How do we deal with this problem? I mean, I don't think any of you is going to pretend it doesn't exist. So I'm moving past that hurdle and asking, how do we're not careful? I mean, even criminals, so to speak, because they have the wherewithal. How do we deal with it?
I want to say this, that there isn't politics without money in any part of the world. I mean, I watched Donald Trump literally win by providing hotel rooms for delegates. Joining the hotels made decisions that led to us having him as president. So politics, no matter what, will be influenced, it's just like lobbying to some extent, by resources. Now, what is unfortunate is that if we forget acumen, if we forget intellect, as it stands, people should also stand for a cause. And when you see a candidate who stands for a certain cause, please do support them. As Sir John rightly said, Kasa Piyen Toponko. Either way, no matter what, even let's look at government introducing taxes. You need to pump something to get people to buy in.